North Dakota now has a highway honoring fallen peace officers. Senate Bill 2277 designated Highway 200 as the North Dakota Fallen Peace Officers Memorial Highway. The bill passed unanimously and was signed into law on March 18th. Among those testifying in support was Kurt Olson with the North Dakota Peace Officers Association. Olson saying citizens can also purchase and dedicate a mile to a fallen officer of their choice.
Every name of an officer killed going back to pre-statehood days, there's a story that goes with those names.
Former peace officer Travis Bateman also testified in favor of the bill.
It's something to make sure that they're not forgotten about, make sure that they are remembered.
Now, Bateman says the cost of signage to dedicate a mile to an officer is around $600. To dedicate a mile, you can contact the ND Peace Officer Association's Historical Preservation Committee. That law will go into effect on August 1st.